Hello everyone. In this class, we'll be going through the basics of communication. So generally communication requires three important elements. One is the transmitter and the other one is the receiver, and the main thing is the channel through which the communication is being transmitted from a transmitter to a receiver. So coming to the general block diagram of a communication system, it mainly consists of what is known as information source. This information source is having either the message or a signal which is being transmitted to a transmitter. So this transmitter, in this transmitter, encoding and modulation takes place, and the modulated signal is being transmitted to a receiver through a channel, and at this receiver the reverse process of encoding takes place, that is nothing but the decoding, and the modulated signal gets demodulated at this point, and finally it will be received at the destination. So in the process of transmitting the signal from a transmitter to a receiver through a channel, there can be challenges of noise which covers the signal. So as we know that this information source will be transmitting the information, the amount of information that's being conveyed is measured either in bits or in dits. This information source which is ready to be transmitted has to be in electrical form. If, for example, if the signal, that is the sound signal, has to be transmitted, first this sound signal has to be converted into electrical variation, then only the signal can be transmitted through a transmitter. So here in this transmitter there is a process that is called as modulation which takes place. So what do you mean by modulation? So in modulation there are two types of signals which are being involved. First one is the information signal that has to be conveyed, and the other one is the carrier signal. So in this modulation, the information signal is varied in accordance to the carrier signal. In this variation, there can be three types of variation. So either it can be through the amplitude, or it can be through the frequency, or it can be through the phase. So when a modulation takes place with respect to amplitude changes, then it is known as amplitude modulation. When there is a change which is taking place with respect to frequency, then that is known as frequency modulation. When the modulation takes place with respect to phase, that type of modulation is called as phase modulation. Next comes the channel. This channel is nothing but a frequency range. For example, if an TV signal is being transmitted, so that will be having some bandwidth. If a radio signal has to be transmitted, that will be having a specific bandwidth. That is allocation of a frequency range is nothing but a channel. So here in this channel, there can be a number of noise which will mask the message signal. So this masking is more when the signal is weak. Then the final thing is the receiver. In this receiver is nothing but a display unit, or it can be an super heterodyne receiver, or it can be an crystal receiver with a headphone. with a headphone, or it can be also an radar receiver. So in this receiver, decoding as well as demodulation takes place. That is, the signal which was modulated at the transmitter end will be demodulated at the receiver end, and finally that will be reaching the destination. So whatever the information that was transmitted, that same information has to be received at the destination, removing all the noises which will cover up the message signal. So this entire block is known as general block diagram of a communication system. Thank you.